Hey everyone, welcome to Nurse Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to be doing our 4th episode review of The Mandalorian. That's chapter 4 called The Sanctuary. And what a great episode it was. You agree?
Yes, I enjoyed it very much. It had that nice mix of background and a new story and the new character development as well.
Absolutely. You got to learn a little bit more about Mandalorian, a little bit about his culture and kind of where he's coming from. We get to see a different style of people instead of being, the standard Star Wars planet where everyone's got blasters and guns and technology. This is more of like an old school, first world country, farmland and not much technology going on. There was an odd droid here and there, but for the most part, it was very low key.
Just out in the middle of nowhere kind of thing.
So, if you recall, based on our last review, the episode ended with Mandalorian basically saving the child, or what we're calling baby Abby, and heading off out into space. We don't know where he's going. And so we know that he's kind of trying to get away from everyone who's tracking the kid. And so in this episode, it starts off with a bunch of farmers that are collecting blue shrimp looking creatures. They have a name, but anyway.
Or the kale fish or something.
Yeah. So they're collecting them and they're farmers. And so in the middle of this harvest, everyone's excited and they're getting such a big harvest. They get attacked. So a couple of big lasers go flying by.
Yeah, you hear the big thuds.
Yeah, and then you hear some roaring that I thought was like a dragon. And a bunch of these creatures come out of the woods and attack them. They look kind of orcs, kind of dog-like, animal-like faces, and new species. And they come out and they basically just raid the camps. All the people are hiding. They steal all their food and they run out. And so these people are pretty much like defenseless. So then we kind of cut to the Mandalorian who's in space. And he's trying to figure out where he's going to go. Yeah. And you have little baby Abby there fiddling around with buttons and stuff. And so very much
typical kid, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you don't want me to touch that? He's like looking at him and I'm just going to push this button.
That's it. Very, very cute. Adorable. And so he kind of grabs him, kind of puts it on his lap, whatever. He's like, okay, we're going to go here. And he's looking at different planets. And then he realizes there's a planet called Sorgan. And he's like, they don't really have a spaceport. They don't really have much technology at all. It's a what do you call it, like a backwater planet, whatever. So he's like, it's a perfect place for us to lay low for a couple months, he says. So they kind of land there. They go and head off and land in like an open field, and this is the same planet where these farmers got attacked. Correct. So he lands there, and he tells baby Abby to stay in the ship. He's like, you understand what I'm saying? Baby just looking at him.
Stay.
So
good.
He opens the door, heads off, and sure enough,
as soon as the door opens, he's right beside you.
Yeah.
He's like, what the heck? Whatever.
So they head off to I guess the local cantina, where they have some people there, and in the corner is Gina Guerrero's character, which we'll find out her name is Cara Dune.
Finally get to meet her.
Absolutely.
She's in all the posters and promos and everything, and it takes a 4th chapter to introduce her.
Absolutely. So she's there. She's like having a drink in the corner, and so she notices him, and he definitely notices her because out of everyone else there who look like farmers and just regular people, she's armored up, so she's kind of got some technology, I guess, and so he notices her. So he sits down, and I guess the bartender comes up, is going to serve them whatever, and he asks her about
how long she's been there, what's the background, why is she here, kind of thing.
Yeah, and so she's like, I don't know, I don't have much information. So he offers to pay her, and then she's gone. So he decides to get up and go figure out what she's doing here. Yeah. Is she tracking them? What's going on? So he tells the bartender to watch the kid and heads out and has this new
so it's kind of cool. Every episode I find out that they kind of introduce a new piece of technology that he has that he can control with his wrists contraption. It's so cool. So you can see, I guess, infrared, like the heat sensors of people's past.
Yeah, footprints and stuff like that. So he's able to track where she went. So he's following the footprints, and then they just seem to stop. So he's kind of trying to figure out where she went. And it looks like she jumped up on some sort of ledge or some sort of branch or something. I don't know. Swings down, kicks him, and then they get into a fight, and it shows that she can definitely hold her own.
Definitely.
She knocks him out a couple times. She comes back to some counters, and true MMA style.
Exactly. She's actually a true MMA fighter, and you could tell that she knew the fighting style. Yeah. But it must have been hard for her to kind of hold back, right? Like she's not really used to stunt doubles and holding back and pulling her punches, but. She looked good doing it, so it was nice to see.
Cool introduction to her character. So we find out that she's basically... So after they get into this brawl, they're fighting around. He tries to burn her with his flamethrower, and she steps on his wrist, and back and forth, literally both hitting each other in the face and everything. Yeah. They both end up on the ground. They both pull guns on each other, and then you just hear some chewing and some slurping, and they look over, and there's little baby Abby with the suit just watching them like, what are you guys doing? Hilarious.
Yeah, I agree.
Hilarious.
I agree.
So he asks her something like, "You want some soup or something?" And then they just cut into now they're in the bar and they're sitting down, they're having a chat.
Yeah. So they're kind of using, Baby Abby as a comic relief / cuteness factor for the show, which is a nice
great
touch,
for kids,
right? Exactly.
Great to sell merchandise and just adds levity to the show, which is really cool and like dark. It's supposed to be like a dark and mystery kind of show, and then you have this great, awesome little spark of light in the corner.
It gives a good balance.
Absolutely,
for sure. Yeah.
So they're talking and they're kind of going over her past. So she explains that she was a drop soldier for the rebellion. And she fought in the Battle of Endor, and she was basically sent in as a cleanup crew. So they got dropped in very, very silently, kind of go clean up the mess, remove the remnants of the Empire, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like the elite troop for the rebel side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so she says she's an ex-drop trooper, so I guess she left the rebellion or whatever and kind of moved on. The Empire's gone. And so she's basically like a mercenary, right? She gets paid to help people or
do different jobs that need to be completed.
Which again is different from a bounty hunter, where bounties will basically get paid to track someone down to either kill them or capture them. She's there to be paid to just help someone out, whatever that is, being muscle, protect someone, whatever, and not necessarily like to go hunt someone down across the galaxies.
Correct.
Yeah. So they have some conversations and they kind of go their several ways at this point. He heads back to his ship.
Well, she kind of says, "There's not enough room for both of us. I was here first. You should probably take off." And he says, "Well, it looks like this plan is taken already."
That's right. He talks to
he goes back to the ship after that.
Yeah, so he's like kind of preparing to leave to figure out where to go, and he gets approached by two farmers.
Correct.
And so they approach him, and they're offering to pay all their money, and he's like, you can't afford me, and all this kind of stuff. And then, like, okay, I guess we're going back to the middle of nowhere. Hope we don't get lost.
It took us all day to get here. Now we gotta go back to nowhere, and that kind of piques his ears.
Like, interesting.
Nowhere, because that's where he wants to. He wants to get off the grid and not be seen and just lay low for a couple months, like you said. So that piqued his interest because it was a perfect solution for him.
Absolutely. So he goes off and he says, what does he say? He says, "Follow me," and he's like, help me load up the ship or something.
Come help load up, and then they load up their droid cruiser
That's right. And then he asks for the rest of their money.
Yeah.
Like that'll be.
I want the credits.
Yeah, I still want the money too.
So I think he asked for the credits because then he goes straight to the mercenary.
Correct.
Because
to pay her.
We need to see one more person, and he drops it at her feet, and
and like, brings her along for the ride.
Yeah.
And so they kind of do a fast friendship, and they head off. They're talking back and forth, and this is where he mentions her being an ex-shock trooper, which I thought was funny because I'm like, shock troopers were part of the Empire.
Yeah.
But she specifically said earlier when she's talking about her background, and then later on, she specifically said that she is a drop soldier for the rebellion. So I don't know if it was just a mistypo or just he's making a comment, and maybe she was a drop shock trooper. I don't know. But that's just the wording that they had there in the closed caption. So, anyhow, long story short, they kind of get to the farm, and so he's gonna get a place to stay. So he kind of gets his own little place, and some lady comes in and is kind of like asking him questions and stuff. Her daughter comes in and wants to feed like little baby Abby there and
play with them.
Absolutely, and they realize like this would be great for him being raised among children and part of the community. So him and Cara Dune decide to go out that night to kind of scout things out, and they kind of go through the woods, and then they discover that this group of people
have there's a large footprint that they come across in the woods, and they discover that, and there's bushes that tree branches that are singed and cracked and everything, and they come to realize that it's an AT-ST that they have. And they're wondering how they got one of those there, but
so that means the Empire was here at some point.
Exactly.
And there's a remnants of it. So they come back like, we can't do this. You guys got to move. Like that thing.
You didn't tell us about it. You knew about it.
Yeah, like we can't take this on. The AT-ST can wipe out like entire like battalions and stuff like that. Like it's not something that a couple of us can just take out.
Yeah.
And so they're all standing firm. Like, no, there's no place we can go. We're standing firm. We're staying here. We need you to do something about it.
Well, they're like, there's 20 of us. He's like, let's be realistic. There's only 2 of us that know what we're doing, kind of thing. Yeah. You guys aren't trained and can't be trained, kind of thing.
So then Mandalorian basically says, okay, I guess we'll train them up to do what we need to do. And so Cara Dune agrees. So they kind of get into training. They decide to set up like a trap, like a little trench is filled with water as a trap for the AT-ST. And they build up these barriers and all this kind of stuff to try to funnel all the soldiers in.
Correct.
Teach some of the farmers how to use these pikes, spears that they craft. And then a couple of them, they train how to shoot. And one of them, the mom, somehow being the only one who actually knows how to shoot a gun and is actually pretty darn good.
She was hitting the target every time. He was very impressed by that.
Yeah, and it was very interesting that it just came up like, oh yeah, I know how to shoot a gun, and she's good at, and then she's just living on this, like, where did she get trained? No one else knows what a gun.
Exactly. It would have been nice to see a little bit of her background. Was she like trying to get away as well?
Was she? Yeah.
Was she at the settlement just to get away, just like the Mandalorian was trying to?
It's interesting how they set that up. So anyway, so they kind of set across this plan, and then she kind of comes and drops some food off at his house and asks about him taking his mask off, which we heard earlier in the past episode that no, he's never taken the mask off in front of someone else, and so she asked about it, and he's like no, and actually even Cara Dune asked him about it too at one point.
Yeah, I think that was later on. Yeah, so the mother asked, so you've never taken off? He says, yeah. Or when was the last time? And he looks out the window. He goes, I was about their age before I had it. Yeah. My parents died, and then the Mandalorian took me in. I'm very grateful for it, so I keep it on at all times.
Yeah. Does he mention at this point that like if he takes it off, then he can't put it back
later on as well. That was Cara Dune. Yeah.
So then she leaves to give him his privacy. Then you see him looking out the window, watching little baby Abby playing with all the kids, having a great time. And then he takes his helmet off. We don't see his face. You just see the helmet come off beside him, and he starts eating his food.
Yeah.
But he's like right in the window, so anyone can kind of look over and be like, "Oh, there's his face." Yeah. Like it's not like he closed the window; he's in secrecy. But that's just kind of funny. So yeah, I mean, confirmed he needs to take the helmet off to eat. There's no compartment.
It was one of the questions that I was wondering.
How does he eat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next day they decide, okay, we're going to go, and he lets everyone know at nighttime, we're going to make our run, but they're going to come back running at us. You guys stand up firm. You got to create a barricade and make sure that you will take on the ATST, and you guys have to keep the group of aliens basically off of us. They say, okay, that's your job. It's going to be difficult, but that's your job is. So then they go in there. They suddenly get through. You get to see some cool like silent like assassination stuff going through. Where they take a couple guys out, get into the tent. Then you get to see this brawl fight between them, and she like throws a guy to him. He hits him. It's great, awesome fight scenes. Like everyone's different.
Definitely.
Like they some are more fisticuffs, some are more technology based, and each one just is so interesting. And it's like wow, these people can not only fight with their weapons, but they can fight without them, and it's just really really cool side to see. Like these guys are really like awesome.
Yeah, multifaceted.
Awesome. Yeah,
for sure.
So they plant the bomb, and they nearly escape when they get surrounded by like I don't know 5 or 6 guys in the tent. At one point, they make their escape. It blows up, and then of course, what comes up is this giant ATST with red glowing eyes. Yeah, like the window definitely different. Where normally there's people in. You didn't see any people in there. You just see the red eyes. So I'm like, that's weird. It looks almost like it's sentient or something.
It was like
right?
a Terminator type thing again, where I got that same kind of feel when they showed the backstory of the Mandalorian as a child with the droid coming in. It was reminding me of the Terminator type style again with this red eyes all of a sudden coming through and standing up, and the way that it moved, it reminded me of the Terminator type style.
So terrifying. So it starts shooting them. They take off running. They head back to the camp, and the thing's in chase, and somehow they outrun it because they get back to the camp, and then you're waiting, and then you see like a couple stomps, you see a tree move, and finally it makes its way. I'm like, wow, they got away really fast. But anyway, the red eye show, it takes a few steps forward, and then somehow it stops. So you think, again, the driver stops and be like, oh, this is probably a trap, assuming there's a driver inside. You don't see any in the eyes, but anyway, it stops just short of the water, and it's perching there, and it's scanning around using its flashlights, can't see anyone, they're all hiding behind the fence. Then it takes a couple of shots at the houses behind, and they're all like, hold your positions. And so they're waiting, trying to find a way to get in, and then all this the alien species kind of rushes
through. Yeah.
And so then everyone starts going shooting and attacking and doing their job, and then of course the ATST starts shooting, and so Mandalorian and Cara Dune are trying to figure out like what's the strategy, how we're gonna get them to take a step forward. It's not taking a step forward. So she says, let me borrow your gun, and she gives it a name. She has a specific name for it.
Yeah, I don't
so let me borrow your thing. I can't remember the name of it anyway.
I wish I could.
So he just gives it up. I'm like, that gun is so you. Like other people when they see you shoot it, they're like, oh, that's so cool. Like that's a rare gun. Like people make comments of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, sure, I trust you enough. Take it. Yeah. She takes it, kind of runs out to the trenches, almost like a bayonet, like World War I. Gets into the trench warfare, hiding behind, takes a couple shots at the ATST to try to lure it out. It takes a step closer, but is not like gonna go in the water. Can't hit her. And then after a couple more shots, it finally decides to take a step in, which starts to make it sink.
Yeah.
Its head hits the floor. It can't obviously get up. And so it starts shooting where it's facing. Then Mandalorian takes his chance to run out and gets a bomb
throws it in the detonator and
right
just
in the
explodes.
eye and just explodes. It's dead. And then actually right before that happens, he's about to get attacked by one of the big goons, and two of the farm villagers, the two named ones, come out and they take him out, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then so he blows it up, and then all the rest of the aliens kind of run away in fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they take out those two main farm people with names, take out their leader.
Yes.
So they kind of cut the head off the snake, and everyone kind of runs away.
So it's a success. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's happy. They saved their town. And the big bad, ATST, the technology is gone now. So it's not just warrior versus warrior at this point. So it's great.
Exactly.
And so they kind of are happy. So it kind of cuts through the next day. Cara Dune is sitting there on his porch. Yeah. He's sitting there. The mom kind of goes in. And then she says something to him. And I'm like, what did she say? So I watched it later and rewound it. And I read the closed captions. She said something. Can I set something up in your place later? Is what she said. And I was like, that's an interesting line. But basically saying like, do you want to sleep? Like, I got the impression of her, like, basically saying, like, do you want to get together? That's the kind of vibe I got. He's like, yeah, maybe later. And
so I think she was talking about setting up food.
I guess, but just the way it came out in the line, and she kind of smiled. He's maybe later. And then she even says, like, Cara Dune even makes a mention, says, you could settle down here with her, and talks about her specifically. Yeah, like, there's a thing.
This hot, so it was called a pulse rifle. Hand me your pulse rifle.
Pulse rifle, okay.
Said. Yeah. So you don't want to take your mask off, settle down with this, whatever widow.
Person here, you can raise your kid kind of and have this area and have his perfect life. Yeah. And he mentions, once you take it off, you can't put it back on again. Actually, is it? Yeah. Then he approaches her and she tries to take the helmet off.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So they have this conversation. Whenever he heads off to go talk to her. He sees like little Yabby there kind of playing. Oh, he tells Cara that he's going to leave him here because it's best for him.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Yeah, and it's be best for him to being raised in this type of village, and then he's going to go off on his own. So she's like, oh, he's not going to like the news, but you got to do what you got to do. So he heads off to go speak to the mom to explain what's going on, and she tries to convince him to stay, and she starts to lift up his mask, and he almost like accepts it. And then he decides to not. But at the same time, we see some guy in the woods that has a fob.
Yeah, so who attracts it all the way back
the child all the way here. Yeah. And then has a gun and he's looking for the gun. And he's looking at the Mandalorian. And I'm like, oh, is this a spy? Is he like trying to figure out, is he going to remove his helmet or not? And then no, he zooms over to the child there and aims. And then you hear a bang.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. And then for a second, I was like, no, this is not going to happen. He got killed. Just like the IG-11 in the first episode. And sure enough, Cara Dune is behind him and kills him. And so he runs out. He tries to see what's going on. Comes back, and then they realize, they're coming after him. And
they see the fob. Because she asks, "Who are they tracking?" And he says, "Child."
Yeah, that's right. And so he destroys it and says, "She's like, they're not going to stop coming for him. Like he's not going to be safe here without you."
Yeah.
So then he realizes that he can't leave him here.
He's got to bring him with him.
He's got to bring him with him.
So he was trying to leave him because he thought he wasn't safe with being with the Mandalorian because he would always be tracked or whatnot.
And it was not a good life for him too. Like for him to raise with kids and like a loving family and that kind of thing would be better for him as a
exactly. And then he realized that no matter what, he has to protect him.
He's not safe here.
Yeah, he'll be tracked no matter where he is, with or without the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So after the mom agrees to raise him as her own, he packs him up and kind of heads up. But there's a scene that we skipped over. It's pretty funny. So there's this frog at the beginning that this girl keeps trying to catch, and at one point ends up catching it, gives it to Yoda or whatever. I guess they're playing with it, and so he picks it up to eat it, and all the kids are like, "Ew, gross!" And when he realizes this, he spits it out and kind of shakes his head like, "Oh, I guess that's not good to do." And so I guess at that point on, he's not gonna eat a frog again.
Yeah, he's learned from the other kids.
Like, "Oh, that's gross.
Not what normal kids do," kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of funny that he tracked it and then ate it, similar to the
half eating. He's watching them. They're like, "No." He's like, "No, okay, spit it out. Yeah. I won't eat it." Very again, just a nice little cute moment. Very Star Wars. I like those little moments that they throw in there. It's pretty.
It adds a lot. It doesn't take much, but it adds a lot to the episode or movie or whatever. It
makes you feel like life. It makes you feel like it's a real place, real happening. Not just business, spy games, and that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, and so he basically takes off with Baby Yoda in tow. He tells Cara, and they kind of say like, "When we meet again," or whatever. They have this.
Well, she's like, "Are you sure you don't want like another person to go with you?" Because she kind of offers to go with him. I felt.
Does she?
Yeah, and then he's like, "No, I'm bypassing the city. I'm going on my own."
Okay. Just kind of. She says, "If we meet again."
When we meet again. Yeah, and they do their kind of
their handshake
like
their
breaks,
soul brothers. And then they take off, and then the episode ends. Right, he kind of takes off, and he's Yoda's baby Abby's gonna stay with him. So, Yeah, so I mean, we got some background about this new planet, kind of what's going on. We got to meet you and Carrera's.
So we got some new creatures as the bad guys.
Yep,
the bad
some new alien species there. Yeah.
We saw a different planet that we've never seen before, and we got to meet some new characters, which is always nice. So I like that they're mixing in, history of the Mandalorian, new character introductions, different species that we've
this
never
is what
seen
we wanted
before.
from Star Wars.
Exactly.
Not the same.
And they have
old,
such
same
a
old.
freedom to do whatever they want. They can introduce any species, any kind of planet, so they have free reign of doing, within reason, anything they want, which is fantastic.
Yeah, the galaxy is huge. There's lots of unexplored areas.
Exactly. So
now the cool thing is Dave Filoni did sneak another thing for one of his cartoons, his shows in here. Did you notice the loft cat? The loft cat.
Yep. In the cantina.
Yep. And I was like, that looks exactly like. Now they're not on Lothal.
No. Yeah,
Lothal. They're not on the planet, but I mean, the cats could be. There are creatures that could be going anywhere.
Exactly.
But I'm like, that was 100% loft cat. Loft cat. Oh yeah. 100%. And I was like, wow.
And it hisses cool. That baby.
It makes a little scene. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's all connected. Rebels, everything's here. You get the Star Wars touch. Again, things that we know, Easter eggs that, for people who like the lore of Star Wars and watch all the different shows and movies, you get a little bits of stuff because the galaxy is, well, it's big. Just like here, we get things that are imported from other countries and stuff like that. Right. Why not other planets having things from other places? And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Touches that kind of...
It's a nice little thing for the big fans, and that it won't affect the story of those new fans.
But it made me remember, like, oh yeah, this is the period after Episode 3, and Rebels is in the period after Episode 3. I'm like, I wonder if there'll be any crossover. Mandalorian is he gonna meet up with Mandalorians? Like,
well, this is after Episode 6.
Oh, you're right. This is after Episode 6. Yeah, you're right.
So, but the Mandalorian can still get Rebels.
They could still, depending on how. Yeah,
I would love to see this.
That would be cool. Oh. That'd be cool.
So my life goal for this,
her crew are still around somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
For this series, I want to know what happened to Boba Fett. I want them to clarify that, whether he shows up or they tell about the history
what if
of
they end
him.
the season with like the appearance of like his helmet or something on the horizon?
Like that would be fantastic. And I want them to incorporate other Mandalorian like Sabine or someone else into the...
Yeah, but then would that take too much away from their established characters if they introduce another character that is already loved, that's already had their own show? Is that going to take the spotlight?
I don't think
from
so.
the
As
main
like
characters?
A little cameo here and there, or like at least mentioning them in lore or past, or
they might. I wouldn't mind seeing an episode cameo or something cross paths.
Just a quick little.
But like someone like Boba Fett, I think the fans would want him to be, if they shows up, to be part of the show, because it's like, oh, he's the original
Mandalorian. Yeah.
I mean, technically Django was, if you look at like he's from Django, but I mean like from the original trilogy where everyone fell in love with the Mandalorians, and Boba Fett and his mysterious background is because of him. So if you have him on the show, he's got to be a prominent character, and then this is a takeaway from what they're trying to do. We'll have to wait.
I think they could balance it nicely to give that little nod to him being the original and starter, but not make it take over the whole series.
Absolutely. So compared to the other episodes, how do you find this one?
I found it was pretty good. The episode, chapter 3, I still think was better in my opinion. It was more action packed and stuff, which is not every episode is going to be able to. You have to have that balance. So, but I appreciated it. It was a nice balance of action because they had that battle scene at the end. Showing some background and history. So it had a little bit of everything, which I thought was a good episode.
I think the only thing that's missing from this show right now, and what we've seen in traditional Star Wars movies, is we've gotten a war scene officially. We've gotten battles. We've gotten fights. We've gotten different alien species. We've gotten all sorts of things like that. The only thing that we're missing is a fight in the air, like a ship battle, which I think it might show. I think that they might do an episode where that happens. He gets caught and they're fighting in the air to show his air skills out, show his plane, what his plane can do. But that's the only other thing besides lightsabers, which I don't think are going to make an appearance, is the space combat, which made Star Wars really big with X-Wings and TIE Fighters. So I'm kind of interesting if they're going to pull an episode off to showcase that side of Star Wars, because they've done everything from bounty hunting. They've done like technology, gadgets and stuff. They've done fisticuff fighting. They did a war scene, trenches and stuff. They did force. They got a little bit of everything in there. Yeah. We're just missing the space combat. I'm interested to know if they're going to jump into that.
Also, I'm surprised. I've been surprised each time I keep thinking, oh, he's going to add to his crew or group or anything.
No.
You get these little glimpses of, oh, do you want to add to my group, or I want to add, and no thanks kind of thing. It's like you see all these people that you think before you see the first episode, oh, this is going to be his crew kind of thing, but then he kind of just keeps being solo with baby the child,
little Abby there. Yeah. So I think that the culmination. So we're halfway through the season now. I think in the next 4 episodes, I think we're gonna get a kind of ending to the beginning with Carl Weathers and kind of where that leaves them. So there's gonna be a confrontation.
Yeah, they've left that open.
I think Gina Carrera is gonna join him. Whether Cooley is or not, I don't know. I think there will be another appearance of him. Maybe they have to go to him for help or try to figure something out. Yeah. But yeah, definitely she's going to join him. And then whether Carl Weathers joins the crew or not, for unforeseen reasons, whatever, because he killed most of the other bounty hunters, maybe he just wants to work with them. We'll figure that out. But I think the end of the season is going to have his crew together to kind of be like, what's beyond? We got this crew here. We kind of know what they can do.
The Empire's still going to come after him as well.
Oh, there's going to be an open-ended surprise.
Of like, some people from the Empire.
Oh yeah, that's still remnants.
Been shown in future.
Absolutely.
I guess we
see ATST on this planet. We've seen other technology on other planets. We know that there's stormtroopers out there. There's still remnants of that out there, and some of them are banding together.
But they're going to want Baby Abby back.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're going to. Not only is he going to have bounty hunters after him, he's going to have the Empire after him. Mm-hmm. He's going to fall into little things.
It's going to be really great to find out where we go from here. So I'm really excited to see. We're only halfway through to see the end of the season, where I think I know where we're going. I'm interested to see that big what's going to happen next kind of cliffhanger, not necessarily cliffhanger ending, but that kind of open-ended we know what's going to happen for season 2
for sure, and
then bam, let's hope season 2 is now not an 8 episode but a 10 or 12 episode run. Let's make it in depth.
This isn't just a pilot thing anymore. You knew it was going to work, but you only had a certain script to start off with, and now you can expand it from there.
And then we know that they're starting shoots with Obi-Wan's show and the Rogue One prequel starting shooting next year. Mandalorian's second season is shooting next year, so that's 3 Star Wars shows that are shooting. Mandalorian season 2,
right? Is
Cassian?
Yeah.
So Diego Luna, and Alan Tudyk is K2SO will be in it. So it makes you think that of the 2 shows, is the Rogue One prequel going to come out before Obi-Wan? Well, they did say Obi-Wan. They already had multiple scripts already done, written, good to go for episodes. So I think they're just ready to film, and he's been in talks for a while now. So I think the Obi-Wan show will be more in production ahead of the Rogue One prequel. So I think it'll be like Mandalorian. They already got their ducks in a row. They're going to start filming, recording next year, probably January, February. Probably have that ready for the fall. Yeah. Start recording Obi-Wan in the summer. Have that ready for next year, and then Rogue One probably the fall of that, and then Mandalorian. I don't know if Mandalorian will be a yearly thing. It would be great if it is. Yeah. But then we're going to have Obi-Wan and Rogue One prequel maybe off seasons or something every other year or something. But yeah, they definitely got some stuff to go on.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it, and especially if it's similar to the way that they're doing this. Little Easter eggs, good storylines, good actors, good action. I'm very happy with it. Looking forward to all the rest that they're going to bring.
Absolutely. So there you have it. There's a review. We really enjoyed the show. Excellent episode. Definitely want you guys to watch the show if you're a Star Wars fan. Definitely think it's worth your time.
Yes.
But let us know what you thought. Did you really like this episode? Did you like it more than the last 3? Let us know in the comments below. If you'd like to support us, please subscribe to our channel and like the video. If you'd like to reach out to us for future topics for us to cover, you can shoot us an email at nerdstalkinfo@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to find us on social media to see what we're up to, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Talk Nerds, or on Facebook at facebook.com/NerdsTalkCanada. And with that, friends, as always,
stay nerdy.